Hi guys, welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time. My name is Paige, and today I'm going to tell you the things that I'd want to know if I was booking my first trip with EF Ultimate Break. So let's get into it.
Most importantly, I have a discount link in the description below.
First things first, and this may sound really basic, it is not a scam. It seems like a scam because you get a lot of targeted ads for it. I've literally seen them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, they're everywhere, but that's just their marketing. I promise it's not a scam. I have been on 7 trips with them. Second, hotels usually aren't in the city center. I see this in a lot of negative reviews when people are like, I don't ever want to travel with EF again, or I really didn't like this and this trip because the hotels were just so far away from the city, which there's been times where I've been like 30 plus minutes outside of the city, but then there's also times where you're like 10 minutes. And it's a quick Uber ride, train ride, walk, whatever. That's just the reality. Places like Rome or Paris, it's so expensive to get a hotel right in the city, and odds are that's just not gonna happen. Number 3, you can really make the trip whatever you want, seriously, because you don't have to do anything. Obviously you have to stay at those hotels and you have to leave to go to the next spot when the group does. But as far as walking tours or city tours or certain activities or whatever, or included dinners, meals, whatever, you don't have to do any of it. You can really make the trip whatever you want. But you should let your tour director know what you're gonna do, because ultimately they're responsible for your safety. So they're gonna freak out if they don't know where you are and you just go AWOL for a while. Number 4, yes, of course you can book other things if you don't want to do what the group is doing or during your free time. I have done that, but just double check once again with your tour guide. Let them know this is what we're gonna do, these are the hours we're gonna be gone, whatever. Just don't make it difficult on people whose job it is to keep you safe. You can absolutely book a trip with Get Your Guide or Viator or something like that. Just make sure to tell someone. However, you might not want to book things until you talk to your tour director because of figuring out timing for everything. Also, they might be able to coordinate it for you. I know several things that I've been I want to go, when we went to Peru, I was I want to hike Rainbow Mountain. And it was so much more expensive to book through a Get Your Guide or a Viator versus our tour director was a lot of people want to do that. I'm going to organize it for you. And it was half the price. So just talk to them. They are the experts for a reason. Next up, you don't have to have EF book your flights. If you have miles or points or whatever, you don't have to have them book your flights. This is a whole video I made about the pros and cons of EF booking your flights. But long story short, it's really convenient because they are going to coordinate the transportation to and from hotels for those flights. And I'm not talking flights during tours. I'm talking flights on the to get to the trip and then leaving the trip, that sort of thing. You don't have to do that. It does save a lot of money, but I will say you won't get the transportation to and from the hotels automatically. Some tour directors are nice and they're oh, you just happen to be arriving when everyone else is, just hop on. But sometimes you do have to figure out your own way to get to the hotel. So just a heads up, and if you want more in depth, check out this video. I'll link it in the description. Yes, you can make requests to come in early, to leave later, to fly out of a different city. We're going to Morocco later this summer, and we are going to Portugal after, and EF booked our flights home from Lisbon. So again, they can pretty much do whatever, just give them a heads up. We did this a year in advance, and the closer you get to trip departure, the more expensive it's gonna be. So just keep that in mind. All right, next. Unfortunately, EF does cancel trips due to low enrollment. You are entitled to a full refund if this happens, not just a voucher. You are entitled to a full refund however you paid for your trip. So they're not gonna wanna tell you about that. They're not gonna say that this is the best move, but you are entitled to it. So just be aware. It does happen. I think the lowest tour group I've had is 13. 13 to 15. And honestly, I love small groups because you get through things a lot quicker because you just don't deal with as many people and all of the logistics that come with a big group. So just to be aware, I want to be honest, and sometimes it does happen. All right, next. I know the idea of traveling with strangers, especially if you're not traveling with like a significant other or a friend or whatever, is really daunting, but I promise you, you will find your people. Whether you don't want to drink, whether you don't want to go out, whether that's all you want to do is go out and drink, you will find your people on the trip. It's just give it time. But I will say, I have done 7 trips with EF Ultimate Break, and I usually know the people or know at least someone on the trip when we go after meeting a bunch of friends on past trips. It's gonna be awkward. That first night or two is just awkward because you don't know people, you're figuring stuff out, everyone's sleep deprived and dealing with time change and all that. It's gonna be awkward even for a seasoned traveler like me. Then again, I'm also kind of introverted, so just putting it out there. Next, European trips tend to have a younger group. So if you're like me and you're in your 30s and you're like, I absolutely do not want to travel with young people, I don't want to be partying all the time, whatever. Europe trips probably aren't going to be your vibe just because they are going to be cheaper. They are going to have a bit more of a party vibe normally. So if you're trying to avoid that, go for, I shouldn't say the more expensive trips, but the ones that aren't like Paris, London, Germany, Switzerland. Like those are much more younger crowd. I will say one European trip that doesn't have a ton of young people, Cruise Croatia. It is still one of my top 3 favorite trips. Highly, highly recommend. But again, it's a more expensive trip. So just keep it in mind. But then you have like a Hike the Dolomites trip, or like even going to anywhere in Asia, Brazil, Jordan, Kenya. Those things aren't, 1, they're more expensive of trips, and 2, they just don't attract the same audience. That's totally fine if that's your vibe. Also, if you want to do one of the European trips, but you're like, I don't want to be with younger people, book the plus trips because they're going to be a little bit more expensive. I think you get more bang for your buck, and because it's more expensive, less people or less younger people are going to be on that trip. Also, if you want to avoid traveling in the summer, that's when a lot of younger people go because of college break. Just putting it out there, again, whatever you want. And honestly, if you want to avoid super packed, like 44-person trips, go on trips not during like summer break, spring break kind of vibe, because again, that's when more people are going to have free time to go on these trips. I still travel in the summer. Like our Morocco trip only has 15 people on it, but again, it's not like you don't really have a lot of young people who are like, I want to go to Morocco. So just keep that in mind. Okay, the biggest thing with price, the cheapest price you are ever going to get is when the dates for that trip first come out. So normally they come about 18 months to 2 years beforehand, and they're normally released around like summer and then around like winter-ish, or Black Friday for 2 years out. So just keep that in mind. It's because it's going to be the cheapest it'll ever be, and your payments will be the smallest they'll ever be because they're over a certain amount of time. And yes, all of their payment plans are interest-free. Okay, so this is something for more like after your trip, but those reviews that they ask you to do and surveys and stuff, they really help. It's the reason itineraries get improved. They really do take people's recommendations seriously. They'll change locations for welcome dinner and farewell dinner and like activities that aren't super popular. So do fill those out because you are helping the next group of people. It might not change immediately, but that is how they gauge how much their trip should change. So it's just really important to help the next person out. Okay, and this is one of my most important things that I think EF doesn't do a great job at advertising, but when you're budgeting for a trip, maybe you don't have a budget, but for me, like I got a budget. I am not made of money. I work in education. So that's just not gonna be a thing for me. I have to budget, but budget for tipping, especially your tour director. Because yes, your local guides, you might tip a few dollars here and there, but your tour director, EF usually recommends like $5 to $10 a day, depending. They do so much for you. I normally don't tip under $100 to them. And you might think that's excessive, you might not want to pay them, but they do so much, and the whole experience depends on them. They do so much. They're amazing. They work so hard. They basically never stop working. They're always awake, happy to help. Super important, give credit where credit is due. And don't be like some people. I was on a trip one time, I'm not gonna say what, but I was on a trip one time where someone actually tipped the tour director and then was like, oh, I need money, I don't have enough cash, and then had the guts to go tell the tour director, hey, can I have some money back? Are you yeah. Anyway, I've also had people who just are like, they're getting tipped enough by other people, I'm not gonna tip them. If you cannot afford to tip your tour director, do not book these trips. You are paying for a convenience, and they are the ones responsible to make your trip happen and give you that top tier service. So don't be an asshole, okay? Don't be an asshole. As far as baggage goes, every trip with EF, you are going to get, no matter like what airline they book or whatever, you get included with your flight one free personal item, one free carry-on, and one free checked bag. So keep that in mind. Yes, they will take into account different dietary restrictions and all that good stuff. They will ask you ahead of time. So just make sure. And if for some reason they don't, tell them, it's fine. Something I've recently learned is tour directors now get our information about two to maybe 3 weeks before departure. So if you're like, why haven't we heard from our tour director? Why haven't we this? Why haven't we that? They're going to, don't worry. It's just they don't actually get information or are able to contact you until that close to the trip. So don't freak out, okay? EF Ultimate Break does have an app that you can download, and you should download because they've really tried to put everything that you need to know or do or complete on that app. It'll also have a group chat that opens 60 days before your trip departure. You will get your flight previews about 60 days before your departure, and you'll get your hotel previews 30 days before your departure. And those will all be on the app. You can log into it from a desktop, but like, I'm just gonna, I know that I barely look at a computer anymore unless it's for work. I'm looking at my phone. So just, yeah. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions that you're like, I had this question I'm about to book with EF and you didn't answer it, comment below. That's what I'm here for. Feel free to like, comment any questions you may have, and subscribe for more. And I'm super excited. We are very soon going to leave on our summer adventures, so that means a lot more travel content, and a new continent for us is coming. I can't wait to share with you guys and bring you along for the ride. All right, happy traveling.